Welcome back, everyone, to the LCS Challengers League. And what a battle from that last one. Cloud9 Challengers able to take it in a very dominating fashion as we wrapped up that last game, which is going to bring us to our next segment. There's not too much to say before we get into our Rally Time halftime show, because it's about the last game that we just went over. The segment is going to be called Coach Concept.
Woo!
I'm gonna give the reins away. In fact, Concept, let us have a discussion about.
I realize you retired already.
I would love to. I'd love to.
Retire?
Retire? I'm not retiring. I'm dabbling. I think I'm just dabbling in being a coach. I think that there's some coachable moments in the game. Pull it up.
So the first one that we were kind of looking at, Coach Concept, was we were really looking at a lot of what was happening around the top side, right? Where you had a lot to say based on the way that Fake God was actually approaching the gank. You seemed to know exactly where Mir was for a lot of this, but maybe he didn't quite get to the last part that you wanted him to find.
Yeah, I mean, I think Fake God as a top laner is really good at, he's really respectful of junglers, which comes with the drawback of that should make you lose lane more, but obviously he hasn't been losing lane for being respectful. Here he's been respecting already for like 30 seconds at the point we're seeing. Sorry, at this point already as he's recalling, he wanted to get his wave in, and he couldn't because he's been respecting that Wukong could be top Mir. And but at this point he's waited for 30-40 seconds. Mir's just emoting in the brush, and he's assuming, okay, I'm safe now. And as we can see, yeah, Mir is still here, and Fake Out is going to die. But it would have been really nice here, I think, if Fake Out, because he's playing Cassante, he could have actually avoided this gank. It would have been really nice.
Yeah.
Oh,
and it was one of those spots where I think if he had played just a little bit more patient, right? If he had picked up on the extra layer of the mind game like you're talking about, it's like, is the jungler spending the extra time in the brush? Maybe he doesn't even take the fight. Maybe he just backs up, waits for the wave to come in. Or maybe he's even able to yeet somebody over the wall in order to find his way out. But like you were saying, there's so many different things as a top laner that you kind of have to go have running through your head. As we start looking at the next one, though, Concept, this is kind of where the game started to break open, and you were very critical of Bradley's lack of teleport.
Oh, I mean, it's not necessarily on Bradley. Like, I just want to highlight, like, it is Bradley. Like, Bradley should have TP'd with how things played out, but it's on honestly the whole team. Just like, I think TL was playing this whole situation. Wait, I just have a question. Can they hear me right now? Like, obviously this is
Who is they? Like the stream?
The audience, yeah. Like,
yeah.
Okay,
When the replay's going,
right,
yeah. Let's go.
Just clarifying.
If we could actually go ahead and get that one again, I'm kind of curious a little bit more about the setup. If we could start it and then pause it right away, Cynthia, and allow Concept to kind of talk about, the initial setup for this, because this is right after the Herald crashes into the mid lane.
Yeah.
Cloud9 have just picked up the Dragon, and Team Liquid seem poised to fight.
So I think up to the past minute up to this, I think both teams are playing pretty textbook. I think TL was doing everything really well. I think it's actually going to end up favorable based on what was happening until this. But this fight was really bad because it's not just on Bradley, because Bradley didn't TP, but if they're going to take this fight, like, the whole team should be, as a whole, like kind of together, I don't know, like, it's not necessarily Bradley's fault, because maybe they didn't expect the fight there, Maybe the team was saying, oh, just push Bradley, it's fine, we're going to go topside, and then they got engaged on, So it's not necessarily his fault. The team, if they're playing on letting Bradley push, if that was the plan, they should have never gone back in the lane in the first place. They should have gone into the jungle from the tier 2, I think, and then, like, they would never given this angle to Maokai. So, like, that's why, I think that was, like, I said the TL I thought would win, but after this game, and I've kind of been feeling this, I think C9 is actually the better team. And I think this next point will also, I think I can talk about more on this next point too. But
yeah. It definitely feels, Concept, as we kind of look through this whole series, is that every single game we've seen so far, Cloud9 is winning every single front-to-back team fight that has happened this entire game. It's been so much on Team Liquid to try and find these engages, make asymmetrical team fights, get Mir in particular on the backline. And as we start rolling this, notice where Mir starts off this fight, he's not able to get into the backline.
No, I mean, this fight, like, I think at this point of the game, I think it's really good to show this just because at this point of the game, it's pretty much unwinnable for TL. Like, I think this fight shows the draft gap. Like, C9's champions are so tanky. Like, Swain is another frontliner that's pumping out so much damage. Like, it's basically, like, the reason this draft gap has happened, I thought the first two TL drafts were better, but I think C9 is actually really resilient in draft. I think they pick similar champions, but because their team is so well-rounded, they are not really targetable in draft, whereas on TL, it's not just on TL's bot lane for being targeted by the AD carry bans. It's also on TL's top lane to be able to punish for having only bans directed at their bot lane. But, if anything, like, C9's top side has been performing better. So it's really just, across the board, C9 is looking really, really strong.
Now, what about the mid lane situation that we have going on here? Because I feel like the Annie pick isn't really working out for Team Liquid. I mean, a lot of the times Cloud9 have just hard engaged onto APA and forced out the flash, which is a really big thing, a really big summoner spell that you need for these snappy engages with Annie.
Yeah, I mean, I think Wukong Annie is really strong. It scales really, really well while also having really strong presence in the early fights around Drake. It's not easy to like be able to contest these Drakes while also scaling at the same time, and it's also blindable. You know, these are all and Mir at the very least plays Wukong really well. But it's just I would agree. I'm not sure how comfortable AP is in Annie. I mean, Diplex is also a veteran, so we shouldn't. I think APA is one of the strongest mid laners in CL, and you know Diplex is LCS C9 veteran, so he is a good player, and yeah, he's definitely been putting APA in a lot of tough spots. So we'll see if they adapt to that.
It feels as though, as we watch Cloud9 in particular, I want to give the shot caller, who we've typically attributed to Zeyzal, for a lot of the power that Cloud9 have had so far in this series. It feels as though a lot of the macro moves are making a lot of the right decisions, and once they've recognized, like, hey, we just need to get fights started on our terms, Cloud9 have started having a whole lot of success. We have seen a couple, gaps in the armor that Team Liquid have been able to exploit, but so much of that has really been based off of one player, and it has been Mir. And I feel as though Cloud9, they've kind of figured that out. They've started looking for it, even over chasing Mir a couple of times in order to make sure that the flank doesn't happen. But that is definitely a spot here where C9 are so ready. It feels as though they are so hungry for that rematch based on the fact that they only recently dropped down to lower bracket from Dignitas.
Yeah, I think Mir has been looking really good, but like you said, right now it is mostly just Mir. I think that Mir, like someone else on the team through draft or through play, will need to figure out a way to come online, and I think the series could still be competitive. But if the next game, yeah, if they aren't able to figure it out, then it could be the last.
Yeah. One other thing go ahead.
Go ahead, Josh.
Okay, fine. One other thing, right? We were talking about how Lost and Zeyzal, they've been drafting to draw, right? They haven't necessarily been drafting these bottom lanes to win the early game. Does that sound like a spot for you of Cloud9 playing for power there, or is that just something that has happened because they're so confident in their top side?
It's more so that they can pretty much always blind. Like Zeri and Rakan are pretty strong blinds. Like I think that both of these guys are also really
tanky,
confident. I mean, they're playing. Yeah, I mean late game, when they're allowed to scale, yeah, I mean Zeri is a tank, but like. I think that, Zeyzal's been really impressive on Rakan, so is Lost on Zeri, and they've also been laning really well. I mean, they haven't been flashy, but that's what they want, like you said. They're playing for stability, and they're playing some of the best scalers in the game, and they're doing both. Like, last game, they even won, against Draven and Leona, and we saw, like, that third clip, like, that's how the fights are going to go. Like, it's unlosable. They've been playing really well, and honestly, C9 as a whole, like, everybody on their team is playing pretty well, today, and I think that, yeah, it's going to be hard for TL to win.
So what do you think has to change in the draft coming into this next game moving forward? Because for the most part, it felt very competitive up until this next one. We did talk a little bit about how we felt Cloud9 had some advantages coming into that draft. How do Team Liquid find their own, though?
I think that the main thing is they need to deal with Zeri Rakan. I think it's like clearly C9 has figured out a way to just target bans at TL's bot lane, and then if this is still up, the game is over, basically. Because TL has nothing to pick from at that point, and then their top side is not doing a good job of punishing either with their draft advantage that they should have. So I think that this Zeri Rakan really needs to be dealt with immediately, and beyond that, we'll see.
Yeah. I mean, Cloud9 have gotten Rakan in all 3 games at this point, right? They got it on their second rotation on blue side both times, and they got it on their first rotation on red side. And so now, I mean, it definitely feels as though Team Liquid have been so focused on trying to shut down this Rakan with the Renata pick, with the Leona pick, 2 traditional counter picks, and it doesn't seem to be working. What ban do you actually start dropping? I mean, they've been banning a bunch of AD carries. They banned Lucian Xayah every single game. They've banned Vi a couple of times as well.
It's tough, I wasn't there in the draft room when they were preparing, so I don't know, how the situations will play out per se and how much they like them. But I think, at this point for a team, when you're down 2-1 in the series and Rakan has been looking like it is with Zeyzal, he's looking really good. It needs to be removed. It cannot be in the game. It cannot.
See if they decide to take that one away, because Sazel, I gotta admit, has been great on it. Pops off when he's able to do these very aggressive plays that's forcing the flash out of APA, or when Lost is getting engaged on, you'll see Zazel actually peel back and protect. He can play it on both ends, and that's what's been fantastic for Cloud9. It's been one of those great tools that Cloud9 have been utilizing, and now they're only one game away from punching their ticket to the finals. So we're going to throw it over our casters to see if Cloud9 can take it or if Team Liquid can find their comeback.
And here we are, getting ready for game number 4. Team Liquid backed up against the wall. If they were able to bring out this series, win it with this position they are in now, what a story that would be. But for Cloud9 challengers, it is already such an amazing journey for these players all across the board. So many of them trying to restake their claim here in the challenger scene to prove themselves once again why they were the talk of the town before and why they continue to be the talk now.
And you got, remember, we talked about it on the top of the show. For Cloud9 challengers, 4 of these players have at one point been in the LCS, and this is that way to get back into the league. These players who have been at the highest level, who are trying to get back there, kind of giving that resurgence coming through, especially for players like Fake God, who we thought were kind of done with, had such a great split. Lost, who's been great since this split started, has been great to see.
Here we have, already into the draft. I wasn't expecting to see this kind of adaptation right away. I thought it would probably be on the 3rd ban for
Spin to win
side.
APA.
But seeing Maokai already banned and then Vi double up on the jungle bans Wukong, something we know that Mir loves to play, and I'd imagine if Cloud9 leave that open, that is immediately what they're going to grab.
So I love what Concept was talking about with the Zeri Rakan wanting to deny that from C9. When I saw the Maokai ban, part of me felt, hey, maybe they want Zeri for themselves. That Vi ban tells me maybe even more so. Maybe they want to take away that Zeri. We know that Arrow can play it. He's played it twice so far in this tournament. With that Wukong ban, I think the option, you either take Zeri or you take Xayah Rakan. Zyra, you can play Xayah Rakan into the Zeri. It could be a first pick Rakan for TLC, as Kim Down's played that 9 times in this tournament. He's been really good at it.
He's been so good at it lately as well. So I'm in agreement with you, Cubby, and I'm really interested to see where this first pick actually starts to go. And it's, as he said, it is that Rakan. So you could be going for that Xayah Rakan angle. You could go for Zeri. It depends if Cloud9 are going to take that away or not.
Here's to see what Cloud9 themselves now want to take the Xayah to deny the Lovers duo. Probably going to be a trade of Xayah for Zeri. Arrow playing that one. A champ that we already know that Arrow can play very well as well. Putting Lost onto the Xayah, it's something that has been taken away. And the safety it provides, plus giving Zazel more tools and more freedom to be that engaged tool to really set up the rest of his team. It's something that we finally get to see now.
And I gotta say, Tomio, the only other jungler he's played in this tournament was Nocturne. I know, it's only been a few games here for C9 as they've took the quick route here. But I'm curious to see what Tomio grabs. They're going to wait. They're actually going to lock in that Nautilus now, which is a counter to the Rakan. And also, if they do want to go for that Zeri, it does give C9 some of that point-and-click CC. So I think this opener is okay for the side of C9. I'm just curious now, do we see potentially a different marksman? I think Ezreal is something that is good into both Xayah plus Nautilus, but definitely not something that fits what TL likes to do. So it will still be that Zeri. So they have that Zeri Rakan duo for themselves. And with so many junglers being taken off the board, I got to expect Mir to lock one in now. I don't think there's anything else that TL wants to blind. And we'll see what Mir ends up going for. He could play that Viego release in if he really wants it.
I was thinking that too, yeah.
I was thinking the Xin Zhao, actually. That's the one he's played already. I was looking at Xin Zhao as a possibility.
Oh, wow, all right, man.
Magical.
Look at you go, man.
Once in a while, I have the big brain.
It pairs up well with Rakan. The only thing I'm a tad bit nervous for is that you do have to dive into Xayah. And of course, that does set up really well for Xayah Rips. I think it's something that Mir has played well. And that does open up an answer as Sejuani. It will be Tomio on the back foot a little bit early. And of course, this could be flexed up to Fake God. We haven't seen that yet, but it is still an option for C9 that we're going to have to look out for. As Tomio, of course, he's had a smaller jungle pool this split. which again is fine if you're playing jungle. But this does open up the melee solo laners to pair up with the Sejuani that we will now have to have TLC look out for. So I want to see TLC take away Sylas. I don't think you give that champion the Diplex. Xin Zhao, Rakan, and Zerial all really good on the Sylas, and it pairs well with Sejuani. I think that's a must take away, especially with the Cassiopeia ban. One of the answers that APA likes into Sylas.
Yeah, and I mean, I want to just call back to something Concept said during the halftime show just before we came back to us, and it's that he praised Cloud9 for being such a well-rounded team where we've seen so many different looks throughout this series despite TLC trying to go for these adaptations. And I feel like this is just another step along that trail there for Cloud9 Challengers. They're showing us something new once again.
Here I'm looking at the draft and kind of debating in my mind who's going to be the important person you really want to draft around at the latter half, because
Maybe a Scion takeaway?
right, do you really want to take away that Scion from Bradley? The Cannon actually is what they want to take away, which could mean that, to me, that we're looking at possibly that Cassante again for Fate God in the top lane, maybe even the Scion.
Ollie.
Yeah, I mean, you
that's
can
interesting.
just take Asante or Scion now if you really want to C9. It's not bad. I think that Scion is a little bit mincemeat in this area, and it would open up for a pretty good Shogath angle. Not Bradley's favorite champion to play. He actually, I think, prefers playing the Scion Malphite, but I think it's very playable here for C9 as, we could have something very different. Going to be a Jax pairing up with Sejuani. That is different. And a Cannon's one of the better matchups into it. I gotta say, you can just run Malphite here. Malphite, you can play that in the Jax. It's not terrible. It's a neutralizer. And with all the dive, I think we're going to see Ziggs. Definitely Ziggs for APA.
I think it's Malphite. I think you just run that.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it. Range and poke, it's really good into Xayah, and everyone else is melee at this point besides whoever we're going to see that last pick come through here for. And yeah, I mean, a Malphite, that strong frontliner to go along with all the engage you already have, it just really sets up TLC really well. Oh, yeah.
You guys want to know an inside joke about this one? The Yorick?
All right, talk to me.
Bradley played it twice in CQ and might have been reported to the council for it. So
I saw one of those games.
Yeah,
Oh
I think that's the hover here. I don't think it's going to be the pick. Instead, it might be a Bradley special. It's all the zoning in the world for TL with the Ziggs plus GP. That's really tough to plan.
Yeah.
Talked about how range really strong in the Xayah. Well, guess what C9 has? They have 3 champs that need to go in. You're now playing that against the Ziggs plus a Gangplank. So this is the first game where I feel like C9 actually has to get ahead early going into the comp against TL, because they're going to need the stats to walk through the barrels, walk through the bombs that TL will be throwing at them.
See, look, I try not to be biased, but man, I love this composition right now from TLC.
Hold on.
Just seeing the Ziggs for APA, and then on the other side, Diplex busting out the Kassadin.
Okay.
It's interesting.
This gives late game. It still isn't the best in the GP. Like, you kind of need level 16 to actually play in the GP. But Ziggs does elongate games on each side. So I think that Kassadin could get there. It definitely gives you some tools to deal with. It's just that it's going to be tough for C9 early. And I think that what TL can do well as a team is that they take turrets quickly, especially with Ziggs.
Yes.
So if TL can get ahead and snowball the map, it could be really big. C9, I think they need a lead to play in the GP plus Ziggs. But with that Kassadin pick, that really kind of throws off what I thought their comp was going to do with that identity with the first 4 picks. Now you have this late game, split push. I can play side lane angle that C9 could always stretch the map with. So curious to see if they're able to execute that.
Especially up against TLC. A team we have seen play for the early game, then play for if they fall behind. These scrappy fights that drag it on until the bitter end. And it is game 4. Backs up against the wall for Team Liquid Honda Challengers. This is do or die for them. The comfort for Bradley, comfort for APA, up against the domination of Cloud9 Challengers. Your number 1 seed, 1 game away from their rematch with Dignitas Challengers.
I mean, again, TLC having this comp where we're honestly kind of favoring them. I agree that Diplex will have that impact when he hits 16 in the late game, but having that mid matchup where you're really not going to have any sort of impact, you are susceptible to dive, especially 3-6.
Oh, look at
That's a
this.
flash.
APA
Wow, he doesn't flash
in time. Finally does flash, but he had to. He was dead otherwise.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, that's fine. He was trying to see if he was just outside its range, maybe.
Is it fine?
Yeah.
Yeah, he got a mana flow ban there. What do you mean?
Exactly. He got some extra mana. He's got a type plus however much.
And you guys are coping
Mind
hard here.
I mean, I was the one that said that games were done and dusted the first 2, and then it went the other way. So
He learned his lesson.
Yeah,
We call that growth, Alex.
at the moment is actually kind of curious to see. They will spot Tomio starting on this side, but Arrow and Kim will go for a little bit of a harass here. As long as they play around this wall and don't get dredge line, it's not bad for them.
No, I think they're just mostly trying to get information. Baiting out that there could have been an invade, seeing if maybe Cloud9 took the bait, took the bluff, backed off immediately. But they didn't. They decided to commit for the blue buff. Give that over to Tomio. While Mir gonna have a free time. Gonna have the same start on each side of the map. Both of them gonna be pathing towards that top side.
It will be bot to top starts for each of our junglers, and I gotta say that is important for Fake God. Jax has been a pick we've seen a little bit less of in playoffs after the few most recent patches. We know that Bradley's GP, it's damn good. I believe last year he was 19-2 on Gangplank. This year the win rate has been not quite that impressive. Hard to match that. It still is damn good though. Bradley, it's definitely more of a barrel champ now with the GP, but the key for this matchup is that Jax always has to play up and forward.
Why is APA so far forward right there? Jesus.
You wanted to demolish Brock, man.
Okay, I suppose, but he just got punished pretty heavily for the. Oh, it was the
Oh,
ward.
it was for the ward.
The ward.
He's in trouble though. He's got no
Mir
flash.
is here. Mir is going to defend his mid lane. They're saying no, nope, not today.
Nice try. A good response from Mir, recognizing APA's in that little bit of danger there. Yeah, I was
Look,
gonna
he
say.
realized he had to flash,
We
but
can still
Mir
go. They got him.
wants this one. First blood struck by TLC.
I mean, it's just the satchel charge, and Mir is so damn aggressive, man. He flashes in instantly. We love the snap decision-making from Mir.
Yeah.
His ability to be so good at so many points of the game, that's so important, too, for APA, because we're looking at this lane like, oh, it's kind of grim. He doesn't have flash. Can he even get this wave in? APA now is at least able to get that TP and put Cassidy on the back foot already. And with no flash on the Cassidy, you have a couple more levels where you can revisit, and it's pretty good.
That's great early into the game. This is the time to punish Cassidy when he is before level 6, before he has that Rift Walk available. The bot lane, Kim down. Oh no, this is tragic. Tries to re-engage, gets the shield as well, but his fate was already sealed.
I respect the effort, trying to go back in and make something happen, but it's going to be a little tough for Arrow. It looks like that wave is pushing away from him too, and Tomio, I mean, been all over the map so far. Yeah.
Flash away from Bradley underneath the turret.
Wow.
Needs the oranges. Is he okay? Is he okay?
The burn?
Yeah,
He
he's
got
okay.
2 flashes and a kill back. We take those, Alex, let me tell you. And that's a really nice play there from Bradley. And what I wanted to highlight, too, is that this is a really important time in the game for TLC. Mir being that aggressive player that we keep highlighting, the fact that he has these lanes that are going well. Mid, of course, has this lead into Cassidy. Top lane, I mean, Bradley's TPing back with Sheen, huge for Gangplank. Mir gets to do stuff like this. This is where he thrives.
All right, we're going to get a few replays here. Kim thought he could play up and maybe dodge this hook. Did hit the level 3, as he might have been playing around that. Just not enough. And then top lane, that is a huge trade for Bradley, the fact that he does get this, because Fake God didn't get this kill. It went over to the Sejuani, and also it does force each top laner to actually TP back to the wave. It's not like they could group shove this in and make sure that Fake God got to walk back while Bradley TP'd back. Those two things really big for this matchup for GP. Because, again, if GP gets behind it all, they can continue to play forward, continue to play up. You can see just the amount of focus they're putting onto this lane as Bradley now doesn't have flash and that wave shoving out. And I love this play from C9. This is really good.
And Mir is not really close by either.
Yeah, this is Bradley's dead.
Oh, no,
Bradley's dead.
He's so dead. He thinks that he can play up. He thinks he's safe because he has a jungler nearby. But once he realizes Zazel's there, he's like, wait a minute. Why are you here? Where'd you come from? He fights it a little bit back, but we already knew what the result was.
Great roam. That bot kill does open up that window, too, for Zazel to walk up there. So I love how Zazel snowballing that lead in the map into more than just one lane. That's a really good play and a good understanding of what Jax needs in this matchup by C9 to make sure that he's being set up for success, because Jax needs to continuously play upwards.
And getting a lead for him like that top side is going to make it easier for you to maybe, if Fake God gets to that big point, you might be able to contest for this Rift Herald. Of course, still favor the team that doesn't have Cassidy on early fights like that, but making Fake God a power point on the top side of the map could very well still benefit for it. Of course, though, you gave up a lot of pressure, rotating Zazel towards that top side of the map. A level 5 Xin Zhao and Mir is going to be very easily able to pick up the first dragon.
I think it's worth it, though, for the side of C9, because, again, one way that you can break all the zone control in the team fight and TL has is just winning the side lane, not fighting. They need Jax to be strong to do this. So I think that C9 is still doing a really nice job of identifying their win cons.
this is where I'd even argue that Cloud9 needs to do that again. They got to make sure they're constantly hounding down Bradley on this Gangplank, never really giving him that room to breathe. Because right now, when you have Sheen as Gangplank, even if you change it more to the barrels, he still feels very, very powerful. And all he needs is his ult so that he can join it. If a fight breaks out in the bot lane, he'll be very useful. They can just put down the cannon brush and look at the damage on Zeyzal. They've got the kill on him.
Nice.
Tomio wants to defend, lost, but he can't. He had to bail completely.
And I mean, that's the power of the GP. Even though you kind of set him behind a little bit, that ability to play to the other side of the map with that global ultimate. Team Liquid take full advantage of that one. And I mean, despite that kill we saw happen earlier, Bradley being ganked twice, still poking Fake God out, still getting the pressure in this top side. I agree with you, Alex. Cloud9, they need to hit that top side again, keep Fake God in the lead so that he can become that side lane threat and allow Cloud9 to avoid team fighting.
At these early stages of the game, Team Liquid, team that we looked at draft and said that we favor how they are and what they can do in a lead. Even if it's not quite 1,000 gold that they have, it's only 7.5 minutes into the game. They've got the first dragon. They even still have control through the top lane. And that's why, look at the minimap. Fake God is hovering around, getting the respawn on those Krugs. More than likely, gonna look to see if he can set up either a gank in mid lane or go for top.
Yeah, I mean, Bradley's been a big focus early, but, you know, lucky here to have internet. You know what his career Gangplank is?
What's that?
19-3 in his career. So yeah, I did say it was really strong last year. I believe it was 17-2. Then he's picked up some wins on it. So hey, backs up against the wall. TL maybe going for a little bit of comfort. This is a matchup that Bradley has played this split, and also, I mean, this is where if you're TL, you're so thankful that you went through the lower bracket. They've already played a lot of do or die games this split, and I think that some of the aggression that we've seen from TL. They're matching up against a team that, as you highlighted, Beatdown, they had 4 out of 5 players that played in LCS. Hell, Zeyzal was a world semifinalist. So the fact that TL are able to throw down and have the confidence, I love seeing that from this team. They are not scared. We've never said that about Team Liquid, but still, seeing them really step up when it counts. Good stuff from Team Liquid Challengers, as this Rift Herald should be going over to them as well. Given the strength of Xin Zhao and the push that Ziggs has early. So TL continuing to do good stuff in the game early.
They got to continue to put that pressure up, because we've seen many times against Cloud9, you give them even an inch and they will make a mile out of it. And right now, APA had to flash early, even dodging away from the Glacial Prison, but he's doomed. There's no escaping. Even with the bomb, it's not enough to take down bot lane. Let it rip from Lost onto Kim down. Lost 1v2, thwarting Arrow and Kim down.
All right, APA, he's got demolished Ziggs, playing a little bit too far up there as he's trying to go for solo first brick himself. And it's actually pretty close because he has that satchel execute, which is pretty busted. So he's taking full advantage, but meanwhile, Mirror, he's actually looking for his Raptor camp, which C9C's cut him off, and now Mirror, he's a little bit stuck.
Duck has flash, uses Crescent Strike to get out, flashing back towards the turret to survive.
Oh, the minion.
Yeah.
Yeah, minion really saves his life there, but it's a really good punish there from Zeyzal. Again, I mean, you have Lost, who very competently 1v2'd bot side. You can just keep Zeyzal in that mid lane, constantly looking. He's just been finding some incredible roams in this early game here in game 4.
Oh, Bradley feeling himself in the top lane. Flash away. There's the ult. Is it enough? Fake God will survive.
It's not.
I love that highlight, though, Beatdown. I did want to return to that last point, Beatdown. I think Zeyzal's been just the big difference maker in this game. I mean, he's affected all 3 lanes. We're 10 minutes in. He's had a positive impact on all 3 lanes for his team already. As Zeyzal's been so big. It's just that maybe TL, I mean, if they can set up for APA to actually walk up to this turret, he's a demolish and a satchel charge away from getting this. And it's here, really impacting the map.
APA satchel charges away to survive. That's, again, bringing back this conversation to Zeyzal. Another place that he is, that's not bot lane. He is saying, Lost, you're on your own. I don't care anymore. We are looking for plays elsewhere to make sure this early game of TLC is not going to continue to get out of control.
Look at what TL's doing, though. Like, they have Rift. They're trying so hard to get this wave in so that APA can walk up auto W. Also, we are a minute away from Dragon, so I expect to see Mir bouncing top to bot. With that mid shove, though, that TL found as a team, they could just walk bot, try and make a play onto Lost, or maybe threaten the Herald. TL going to continue to bounce between these 2 lanes as they set up for the Dragon and utilize some of the control that they have now.
And
that's what they want to do.
Yeah, Cloud9 have just been pushing and pulling all across the map. Look, Tomio is back here. You don't have that play onto Diplex, and it's still pretty dangerous for you to actually walk up here. I know. Like, look, Zeyzal's back. TLC, they are trying to get this Herald in. They're trying to get that Demolish proc, but they just can't.
I don't even know if right now TLC want to pop it just yet, waiting out until that 10 seconds passes when they can look towards the dragon. They're even calling up arrow.
Yeah.
It is very goofy.
It's goofy.
But at the same time, it's not really losing them anything on the map because Cloud9 keeps answering them.
I will say, like, matching junglers here does hurt TL a little bit, because I'd rather have resources on Xin Zhao, especially early in this game, but he already has a Gore Drinker, so that's pretty cool. I mean, the good thing for TL is that they have maintained control over this bot side river, as Dragon is on the board. They would love to stack up early still, but C9, seeing a base, will be able to reclaim control over this side of the map, and we'll see if C9 feels confident enough to actually try and go for something. That TP from APA should dissuade them from actually hitting this Dragon. I think it would be very dangerous playing in the Ziggs, giving you a free time to, throw some bouncing bombs at you could be concerning.
Mirror in the bot lane, looks for Zazel, was able to get the knockup with the kick as well. They've got a lot of damage, and he is paper, but so is Kim down.
Guardian.
The burn
Guardian?
isn't enough.
Oh,
But he ticks down to the ignite. Support for support, but with Rip Herald's pop, that's plates they can gift over to Arrow.
Still was a kill going over to Zazel, too.
Yeah, it is something that they get back, but the big thing there is that at least Arrow, one was part of a kill, and they get to walk away with some of that plate gold.
Yep.
But it's tough. Team Liquid, they're not getting fully everything that they're looking for here. C9 are doing a good job of neutralizing a lot of what they want.
APA, nice dodge there again on the Glacial Fissure. Not going to get tagged by that, but Bradley fighting against Fake God in the top lane.
Oh,
Cannon Barrage helped out on one parlay.
slow. Wow.
It's big. It's big.
Yeah.
I mean, TL, they haven't started up this Dragon yet, but they're about to get mid-turret with the Satchel Charge. This is going to be first brick. They finally were able to break this after like 3 minutes of dancing around. And again, that bot play, it was a kill for a carry. Arrow picked up the kill onto Zazel, and Zazel got the kill onto Kim down. So even with the trades, it still was TL that have a 3K gold lead, are about to get the second Dragon of the game for themselves, and TL are playing out this comp that can take so many objectives so quickly very well.
Yeah, and we're giving credit to Cloud9 for kind of absorbing, neutralizing a lot of what's been going on. But before that, I mean, we're going to see the dreaded 1v1. I mean, it's just GP. I mean, Fake God, respecting the range, doesn't actually walk in the 2-barrel range. And it's Fake God who actually initiates, but Bradley manages to turn it around. And you see that angle right after he hits the bell where he's like, oh, you know what?
Trial by fire, man. It's a lot of damage back in those autos if you aren't able to E those. So glad that Bradley got one of those off. I'm sure he is too, as he picks up the solo kill. And like where this matchup is right now, I mean, GP's ahead. You do win on Sunder for Jax. You should be able to, but you do have to contest those barrels. And as long as Bradley's able to do that, he can buy the space against the Jax to try and survive the Sunder. Depending on what Jax builds later, he should be able to chase GP down to the side. But again, this is a pick that Bradley 19-3 on in his career, and you can see that comfort really mattering for him in this game 4.
Yeah, and it's really worth noting that this is a lot of those wins came in his first year as a top laner. Remember, he was a mid laner before. Last year, Bradley made the switch to Team Liquid Challengers. They gave him the offer saying, hey, look, we want you, but do you want to switch to top lane? And going into Proving Ground Summer, he actually had the most unique champions, more than anybody else in the game, and that GP, of course, being the staple for him. And it just proves true today as well.
It's always a treat to watch him play this. I've loved watching how well he is
That's the Ziggs.
Ziggs, baby.
champion. And there, APA, another comfort for Team Liquid. And this is the thing. When your backs are up against the wall, some of the best play always comes in from when you play the champions you're the most comfortable on. Such as playing that GP for Bradley, the Ziggs for APA. But I want to look now towards Cloud9 and look towards Lost on this Xayah. Something that has been taken away, something that he has been very comfortable and confident playing throughout this entire playoffs, even going back to the regular split on how he enables Zazel on this pick to go elsewhere, to make those plays like we were just praising that Zazel did before. So when do we see Lost really start to step up is going to be the big question.
It's hard this game, though, for Lost. Like,
Yeah.
I think that freeing up Zazel's been huge, but you have so much range on TL to zone away the Xayah that I can't struggle into range. I think it's tough. There's Diplex.
That's a lot of help. And Zazel's there too, just to make sure, like, hey, you're not going out anywhere. I'm going to make sure you die. And why auto? Give the kill to Diplex. He was dead.
I mean, you might as well get the assist money, huh? Come on.
There's always the
You
chance.
wanna go
Hey, there's always the chance you steal it.
Yeah, fair. I mean, this Kassadin needs gold, has the Roa stacking, and we talked about how getting to 16 and getting ahead for Diplex is super important. But we're seeing the results of picking that a very passive early mid lane pick there. And the fact that TLC have gotten all of these early objectives, now the second Rift Herald is available to them as well. And Fake God, he's got to go.
Thank God he wants to go in. He wants to fight. He's got the ult, the Keeper's Might if he needs to. The flash in from Zeyzal onto Mir. Mir using the Crushing Strike to get a little bit of distance, but the Depth Charge connected on him. He's got to be careful because that's going to be the let it rip if he gets killed by Lost. They take down the turret. They got the TP on the other side, but it was all in trade for Mir's life.
So Herald gets a second charge, but that's a good response there from Cloud9. They teleport Diplex up to the play, and it's again more of that neutralizing. I mean, it's still good for TLC, but the fact that Cloud9 keep taking these kills back and forth is huge for them.
Oh, Fake Guy's actually waiting here behind Diplex in case things get funky, as Bradley does miss the barrel. That's a rare mistake from him, and now Bradley could be in trouble.
Has flash if he needs to. Doesn't use it just yet. Orange is instead back towards the
Flash.
turret.
Wow.
I will say that last play from C9, that was actually opened up by the kill onto Arrow. Arrow was coming out of base. It guaranteed, again, that C9 found a 5v4, so TL, they want to stay on schedule. They want to continue to make plays with these Rift Heralds, but... nice. Send a message, you know? They want to stay on schedule. They want to continue to make plays with these Rift Heralds, but it does really matter that C9 has been able to counter. That's another time in this series where we have seen TL try to do that, and C9's been able to answer, bounce back by shifting power from one side of the map where they got a kill on the Zeri, and then using TPs to get power on another side of the map. C9's been doing that very well today.
Plus, Diplex being there, also really helping out since he had been struggling for a long time in the lane phase. He's got that row completed, working towards the Seraphs. Better position that we're seeing in this mid laner, and this is where we bring back the conversation of how well he has been and how important he's been for Cloud9 Challengers to get these early leads for the team. And 2 times in a row, last game and this game, hasn't had the early domination that we have seen typical of him, yet still is such a critical member for Cloud9.
And I will say, though, TLC still getting their run of all the early objectives. They're literally 5 for 5 as they secure their soul points here on this Infernal Drake. Cloud9 know they can't go for this one. They just need to keep playing the map and fight for that soul. At that point, Diplex should be at 2 items, hopefully have that Seraphs fully stacked. And that's where we're finally going to see this Kassadin start to have a lot of that team fight impact. But that time does mean APA is going to start taking these turrets all around the place.
Oh, Diplex, a bit too greedy there. Took so much damage, and with the burn from the Trial Fire and Ignite, look how low Diplex was.
Still, I mean, TL, those 3 dragons, I think, real big as you're bringing up Beatdown. Again, I think that Diplex kind of needs 16 to be able to get around Ziggs plus GP. Like, the 4 seconds on the jump, it's too much time for, like, it gives time for GP to prep barrels or for Ziggs to respond. I think that 16, having that 2-second jump's really big. So, I mean, if you get Soul before that, that could be, again, a really big point in the game where TL can kind of take over. And as long as TL continues to use their range advantage, again, everyone on C9 has to go into a Ziggs plus a GP. That feels terrible on the side of C9, especially when you're down gold and down 3 dragons.
Yeah, and the big thing, or the big concern there for TLC is Cloud9 know they have to contest this next Drake. So we see how they're able to play the map, get these picks, and set up for some of these plays. So that means Team Liquid Challengers, they need to be extra careful in the coming minutes setting up for this Drake. If you see Arrow or Bradley, somebody getting picked off before this dragon, and you don't pick up that soul, well, suddenly Diplex can reasonably get to that level 16, can get to that point in the game where he could turn things around for Cloud9.
Or I think the first time this whole series at 20 minutes into the game, Cloud9 not with the gold lead. TLC still holding on the control of the map the best they can, though Mir is fallen a level behind Tomio at this point, having tried to be a part of so many positions and fights to get these lanes ahead to really bring the power of all this early game that they have had. TLC are still, I think, really cautious on what they want to do. The thing is, how important this is, right? We have to look, they're cautious in the terms of, this is the make or break game. This is where it's do or die. That it's so important. Every play has to be well calculated. It's not like they can just throw caution to the wind like they did before.
I mean, this is also going to be a push and pull game because, again, Jax and Kassadin, they want to stretch the map. You don't want to fight in the Ziggs GP. C9's intelligent enough where they know if they walk in the barrels, they walk through a minefield, they're going to be melting. So you can see C9 trying to play these 3 lanes. I think the problem is that GP is actually an okay answer, just given the wave clear that he has, the fact that both of these champs are melees that have to jump in. Ziggs is not. Ziggs can be abused. So wherever they want the power, they have to kind of play around whatever side like Ziggs decides to play or catch. But also Ziggs, you just use ults to kill the sides, as we have seen APA do already. So I think that the game, again, this game, I would not be surprised if it goes longer, just because C9 does really want to stretch the map. It's just like, how strong can TL get to try and end as a 5-stack and brute force? Because they will need to start pulling C9 to them as this game moves forward.
Now you can see it. They're all on this top side, trying to make a bit of a play onto Diplex, but it's really just securing more structures.
Look at Tomio, look at Tomio.
Oh, yeah,
Ooh, I
he's
like
got
this
the
fight.
angle.
And Zazel, both of them. Spotted out by the ward. They already took down the turret pretty quickly, but now it's the escape for TLC with Lost there too.
Okay,
Wow.
It seems like Cloud9,
Wow.
they're too cautious as well. They know that they don't have that position they need.
It's something small. I do want to credit Bradley fogging there. If Bradley shows on a wave, yes, he has TP, but that might encourage C9 to go. I think Bradley stepping into fog was smart. Good team play there. And Bradley also was able to rotate mid. It does hit the wave. They will sack bot, but still a good play from TL as they continue to play the map soundly. And we have given TL a lot of credit, and they deserve more credit in this game for how well they are able to move as a team and take structures. We've seen them be able to consistently do this, especially with Ziggs, but also just regardless of any comp, right? TL, they made 1 or 2 mistakes to still on games 4 today. They made 1 today, but I love how they recovered. This is still a strength this team has, and we're seeing that when it matters most.
Yeah, though. Tomio, Zazel, hovering. Looking for him. Like you talked about, Cubby, how vulnerable this Ziggs is, especially when left alone. Cloud9 understand the assignment that if they can kill him, a lot of their side lane pressure is gone.
And one thing I want to highlight too now is everyone's got their bases in. Now TL have this opportunity to walk in and set up vision around this dragon. This is the big moment here for Team Liquid Challengers. They secure this Drake. They get what you're talking about, Cubby. That power, those stats, the ability to brute force, end the game as 5 before Diplex can turn things around.
And if they have priority mid and over this river, I mean, how hard is it to walk into Ziggs? Gangplank. C9 are not playing through bot for this, so they will not have as many flank angles. They could use the Infernal Wall to get around, but look at all the chip damage they've already taken from the Ziggs, as we'll see where C9 decide to pick their target. I think TL are grouped up decently well right now.
I like Zazel, though.
Zazel, yeah.
Fake God.
They just walk up now and just fight over the next wave.
They're marked at the moment, waiting to see if they pull the trigger. Kim down on Rakan to easily jump onto Lost, but it's still Xayah. Difficult target to look for. It's Cloud9. That's at least tempered it for now, while Team Liquid will push and pull back towards the dragon.
Fake God and Zazel managed to buy some space, and look at this pinch here. They basically got TLC in a box, and now they're just going to go ahead and start this.
They're so corralled. They look for the engage, but the damage on the other side. Let's look at Bradley, see if he can get the barrels as APA is so low. The APA is going to be the first casualty. Mirrors in the back line. Diplex trying to go back onto Bradley. Well, Arrow's left alone. They got a double kill.
Wow, they got it.
And it's all off a Fake God triple kill.
That angle was so good. The pinch, every angle that they had beat down. They get a bonus.
Kill.
Fake God steps up in the end, and C9, they prevent the soul. They find the fight. That's one way to get around the GP and Ziggs. Just fight him from every angle. They bought enough time to set that up and did so successfully.
They did it immensely. Fake God now, again, he just keeps stepping up throughout this entire series.
Dead.
We're about to lose Arrow. It's going to be, the delayed Penta for Fake God, but ultimately what matters there is that team fight. You deny the soul, and that's it. Diplex is level 16. The Doomsday clock is hit 0, and Cloud9 are going to secure themselves the Baron. TLC can TP all they want, but they cannot stop it.
Right? No way APA steals this. He's got the bomb, but Diplex is on top of him. He couldn't even throw out the bomb. Like you said, he could one-shot him. That's why APA just used the satchel charge to get out of there.
Yeah, again, Cass in level 16, the side lane priority for C9. They've gotten enough resources where now Cass, he can play around those barrels. He can play around those bombs, and if you set up a fight like that, that's so tough for TL to deal with. I mean, we're going to take a second look, Beatdown. The setup was so good, and the engage as well. Yeah, this goes sideways from Tomio, but look at what Zazel's able to find. It's a nice ult from Mir to disengage, but everything goes on to APA. He doesn't get many spells off. Lost is able to free hit, and Arrow, he wasn't able to hit anyone.
And at the end of the day, it's between their flashes and some of their big CC tools. They managed to basically skip a lot of that DPS, a lot of that ranged poke, and it works out for them perfectly.
Now they're trying and attempting to get on top of Diplex, but the Doomsday clock, you guys talked about it. It struck 0 a while ago.
Yeah, he's chilling. Cloud9 suddenly in a very powerful position. That dragon fight meant all the difference for Cloud9 Challengers. And even though TLC still have that soul to play for in the coming minutes, Cloud9 slowing it down. They've reached all the scaling tools that they wanted to.
Them
and
anymore.
look
You
at Fake
cannot step up
God.
to Fake God. It's not like the lane phase anymore.
That's an illegal move.
He's got the power over you.
Another kill. Tomio's going to be able to cruise on out. And that dragon fight, I think Arrow and TL, they're going to want that one back. Arrow wasn't able to auto that much.
Yeah.
He's getting zoned off by Lost. And now those side laners for C9, they're online. They've gotten so much gold back. Just all the standing gold they still have to take on the map. 2 inners about to fall. This Baron's going to at least give C9 a 3k gold lead once they knock down the second inner. And, I mean, at this point of the game, again, how do you deal with the Kassadin?
How do you deal with the Kassadin? How do you deal with the Jax? He's 7-2.
Yeah, at this point, we talked about it. Cubby, you mentioned it. Ziggs can extend this game, but this is so hard. The later the game goes, you're reaching a lot of key item spikes, but we're seeing how difficult it is for Arrow to really play out in these team fights there. We talked about Ziggs' GP and how impactful it is, but if Cloud9 can close the gap, no one's really there to kind of play screen for Arrow. You see how difficult it is. He couldn't actually get any value out of that lightning crash in that last team fight. And with this level 16 Jax approaching item number 3, which is looking like, what is that, a frozen heart? Like, Arrow is under so much threat.
I love the armor spec from C9 because they know if they can just dodge out on the bombs, then they'll be okay. Like, Ziggs does a lot of damage, but it is inanimate.
Yeah.
And also the Sojin, I think from Jax, really good because, again, the ability to have more dodges and especially more leap strikes to close the gap on the GP is important in this matchup because you have to contest those barrels if you want to win in the side. So I think the spec here from C9, a couple intelligent decisions being made in the inventories and even better decisions being made around the map is that dragon fight. I mean, this is like, if you include the Baron, it's like a 7k gold swing now.
Nice glacial prison there from Tomio to deny Diplex from even getting touched in the fight. He'll take an auto attack, sure, but he's perfectly fine just resetting and taking down the minion.
And he's just that constant side lane threat, and you can see it. The entire map is pushed in on the TLC side. They are fighting for their lives here just to try and keep their base from getting broken into, but they're in such a difficult position. Remember, they have no more lives left. This is lower finals, and C9 are up 2-1. We've seen Team Liquid Challengers make those comebacks, make those interesting, creative plays to be able to get themselves back into it, even in this series, but we're going to need to see it again if they want to stay alive.
Doing it up against the #1 seed at that. Do it once, it's a miracle. Do it twice, you're praying for the impossible at this point with how Cloud9 have dominated the Challengers League throughout the season, being the team that everyone touted as the best. The bot lane from Lost and Zazel all the way to Fake God, being possibly one of the best top laners we have, arguably only second to whom?
That's the big raid boss that awaits the winner tomorrow. As C9 wants that rematch, they're so close. This dragon, they've had so much priority in the lanes. This is going to go over to them for free. No way TL can contest. CVAPA maybe throws out an ult to fish. But that should be it.
Even
and
tries.
again, C9, they just get to play out three lanes now. There is so much wave clear for TL. They're going to need another Baron to even try and end this game. But you got to imagine with all the side lane control they have now with the Jax and the Kassadin, it's going to be so difficult for TL just to get out of their base.
Yeah, no, they're the ones who are that TL have to face check into, where you have that Nautilus, you have this very scaled up Kassadin. You have a lot of people who are very dangerous for you to run into. And, you know, we have champions like GP, we have champions like Ziggs. They're the ones who like to walk backwards. So this is such a difficult position. You see Mir and Kim down. They're moving together to try and set up some semblance of sight here so that they at least can either contest or know and take something on the other side of the map when Baron starts. But this is a very difficult position for them to play into.
TLC, they're grasping at straws. And Cubby, you didn't say it's done and dusted yet, so it makes me think this game's getting close to ending.
We need the concept tweet.
I can if you want. I kind of want a game 5, honestly, you know?
Oh, yeah, I need you to say it right now.
When you want it, that's when it doesn't happen. Here, Cloud9 don't want that. They want the victory. They want that chance at glory. It has been since 2021, since they've been in the grand finals, since Proving Grounds has started. They would love to get a chance again at getting the title.
I see a level 18 Cassinan in the side lane this far up. I do think this game's done. As we see Cassinan being the one used to stretch the map. Yeah, TL, they can't look at the Cassinan. You can just continue to rift walk away, and Baron's being duoed right now by Tomio and Lost. So C9 stretching the map really well, just forcing TL to answer to whatever they can, and guess what? That's nothing. C9 take the Baron.
Oof, that was essentially almost like a smite with both Tomio and the rift from Lost and how fast that Baron fell.
And now we're at a point, too, where the only thing left to play for in these coming minutes is going to be that dragon, but we might not even get there. Cloud9, I mean, the bottom inhibitor is already gone. The mid is something that they're going to look at next, and you still have Fake God, the ever-present just raid boss in the top side of the map. This lane is constantly being pushed in, and you're seeing it. He's backing. He has the teleport. He's immediately going to just come back. He has the hull breaker. Like, he already was impossible to 1v1, but now it's like double impossible, you know?
Again, I feel like that's a really good read from C9 about how they want to play out this game and the rest of it. It's just going to be a 1-3-1 with letting things slowly break, and also those empowered caddies are pretty big in the Ziggs, who like still does have such good wave clear, even in the Baron, just doesn't matter.
Diplex is just free hitting the next turrets.
Well, you can't make a play on him. Yeah, this is Cassinan, man. It's fun.
It's fun for Diplex. I think that's the thing there, is we're going to lose another inhibitor inside of TLC's base, close to it at the very least. And it's just Cloud9 very slowly whittling away at Team Liquid's side of the map here. And it just, like you said, Cubby, there's very few answers available to them. Honestly, nothing, as they're about to lose another turret.
Something's got to break soon. TLC, they're holding up the ship with nothing but a straw at this point. And it's going to break the camel's back at some point unless a miracle can happen. Because right now, with 2 inhibitors down, the third one mid siege, and all it takes is Fake God and Diplex collapsing, they can get it.
This is the Ziggs comfort zone, though. We're entering balloon tower defense mode. As we'll see how long TL can hold on.
Well, not
boy,
too long
APA.
when they just say,
Maybe not
hey,
long.
who needs balloon tower defense when we can focus on your wave clear? They've got Lost kills. He's got it doubled up as well. Diving underneath the Nexus turrets. It's a triple kill. Cloud9 will not be denied their rightful title. They will get their rematch against Dignitas Challengers.
What a game. Any gritties here from Diplex? We'll see if he hits another one. No, there's only the Swain, but you can see C9 still talking about that game. Maybe some chuckles about how that last dragon went as C9. We got a rematch, man. Dignitas versus Cloud9. It really feels like our top 2 teams all year, and both teams that had to make adjustments in service to their LCS needs. They still managed to make finals. So much praise for both these teams, what they've been able to go through in Proving Grounds, and C9 deserve that rematch.
That they do. I mean, they were well-fought games, you know, 1, 2, and even 3 to a certain point. But it was always Cloud9, the team that was ahead. They were always the ones that were finding these plays that were the ones dictating what Team Liquid had to do. And you could only pull off these crazy plays so many times for Team Liquid before Cloud9 just say, you know, enough's enough. We're winning the series.
Yeah, and I mean, you got to give props to Cloud9. I think that last game was honestly a really good testament to kind of how good they are as a team, how well-rounded they are. That kind of strategy towards the end where they had to give away a lot early on and then contest at the right time when they reach certain power spikes. I mean, it's a really hard thing to do, but they managed to succeed on it. It looked pretty clean after that 4th dragon fight.
I mean, what a fight, too. The collapse. They were all in this little box, and they just all put the pressure from every side.
Great
it was
setup.
A great setup, and Cloud9 deservedly get the 3-1 victory in the lower finals to mark their 2nd time ever since the Proving Ground started to be in the grand finals against Dignitas, who is their 2nd time being in the grand finals. Only one of those teams will get their title. Only one of them will get it for the first time. For now, we're going to toss it at break because we have an interview still left to do with Cloud9 Challengers. We'll see you on the other side.
See you.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Verizon post-game interview. I'm joined by the victorious top laner for Cloud9 Challengers, Fake God. Congratulations on this win, fighting your way back up to the upper bracket finals. But Fake God, we got to touch on the fact it was not the easiest best of 5 you guys have ever played. Games 1 and 2 in particular were wild. What did it take for you guys to like close out those and actually come back in the rest of the series?
Yeah, for those games, basically we were winning early game very hard. It just
felt extremely difficult to actually close out the games themselves. So we talked about it a bit for game 1, but we were like, oh, we just messed up. Like let's do it again in game 2. But then for game 2, like we got ahead. Like we were thinking about like breaking their inhibs, but with like a 1-3-1 comp. But it was just felt extremely difficult to actually look and break side lanes because San could actually just like tank their side, and then Aphelios was just like just pushing mid and hovering one side. So after that, after we lost that game, we had to talk a lot about like what how we'd actually counter that and like what kind of team comp we should play to. And I think we went a little bit away from 1-3-1 for like game like 3, like the game afterwards. We went like, you know, tank top and then like mage mid and like just 5v5 team comp ourselves. And then because we did that and we had like a better comp for that, we would still win early game, and then we would have a better mid to late, and we could actually just break their sides.
Yeah.
And break their nexus. So that's what we did after those kind of game, like the coin flip games of 1 and 2.
Well, it seemed to work out quite well. The other thing that seemed to work out quite well today was you were able to take down Bradley rather handily. What really was going through your mind with this opponent coming into the lower bracket finals?
The only thing I thought, honestly, I thought Fear would beat them and make it out because I thought they actually played like pretty well. But I was just thinking, oh, okay, it's just TLC. Like, let's just keep practicing and then we'll just beat them.
Yeah, I mean, you already did it before, right? You were able to double eliminate Team Liquid across the course of this tournament, so congratulations on that. But while you did really well into Bradley today, we got to face it, last week it kind of felt like Hoon had your number. So what are you going to do tomorrow in order to turn it around?
For me, what I took away from that series against Dig was that I didn't actually know what I wanted to pick, and it felt like Hoon did. So I went a lot. I talked a lot with my teammates and my coach about like the picks I should actually go for and like how I should fit a team comp and how we should like deal with like tank counters that would just win side. So I think for this rematch against Dig, I'll have a much better chance because I'm not gonna pick like really bad champions in top lane, and I'll be able to know what I actually want to do with the whole team comp in general for draft. I'm not blaming just draft. I also played like kind of weird on that series, honestly. I think I was just thinking too much on that one, and I think the loss to them actually helped us as a team really well to just calm down and refocus on like improving and winning.
Yeah, so don't necessarily need to get into your own head, but still taking a more holistic approach, you know, better understanding your role from the team. Really like it. The other thing I kind of want to touch on, Fake God, is you took a break during your last competition split, and now you're coming back in. You guys have been looking quite well, #1 in the regular season, now finding yourself into finals here for Challengers League. What do you feel this means to you and your potential opportunity to return to the LCS?
I don't really know. Like, I guess it's nice that we're first and we're playing for finals in like Challengers League. But I don't actually like know how much teams would look at this and realize this, because honestly, like when I was playing before, I didn't actually like get near this level of success for like the academy scene or like challenger scene, I guess. So I'm not really thinking about that right now. I'm just like, let's just keep playing and just win until there's nothing else to win, and then I'll just see then, I guess. I'm not really sure about that.
Fair enough. All right, well, we do know that you guys do have to play another best of 5 tomorrow. What kind of preparation are you guys doing in order to get ready?
We'll probably party and take a night off and
take party.
And maybe watch some drama TV on.
Yeah, what drama?
Night today. Oh, we were watching. Okay, for this past week, every night we were actually watching a series called MILF Manor. Like every night at 9 p.m. for some nice team bonding, and I think we got into it like semi unironically, but by like episode like 4, I think like I was actually kind of invested into it. Like there was like some love triangle stuff happening, and like I was actually pretty curious. So after scrims, like Zazel would just be like, Is it MILF Manor time? It's like, yeah, let's go. Let's go at 9. Like, we just gotta wait up for the solo queue game and then let's go. So.
All right, I love to hear it. You know, you got into it for the plot, and now you're in it for the plot. That's what I like to hear.
Well, we did finish it, so we might have to find another series after. Yeah, we finished
maybe there's a second season for you guys to get involved in. But looking forward to, you know, hopefully MILF Manor will help you guys out with your series tomorrow. Before we let you go, Fake God, are there any shout outs you like to give?
Shout out to everyone, you know, my team, my coach, everyone here, my family, friends. It's all been really cool, and really, really happy, excited to play tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, congratulations on your victory today. Good luck in all your games tomorrow. Thank you so much for joining us here for the Ryzen post-game interview, Fake God. But we're going to take us back. We're going to return to Desrex and Concept to close us out for the day.
Oh,
no.
goodness gracious. Anyway, Cloud9 Challengers, man, they had a trajectory set for finals. It got derailed against Dignitas, but with this latest win, they've earned themselves a rematch. Baby, it's got to feel good.
Got to feel good. And Concept, I mean, this is not quite how the script went last summer, but we do have a rematch of the upper bracket finals. Dignitas were able to win that one 3-1. What are you expecting for our next matchup?
I mean, you know, like what Fake God said, I think it's going to be interesting. I think that, yeah, Dig was the better team the first time around, but like it seems like they have a good understanding of why they lost, and I think, you know, hopefully it's more competitive than today. I'll apologize and say I was wrong. I think C9 actually, C9 was the better team today. I thought TL would be a better match, but hopefully I think Dig will be a better match, so should be good tomorrow.
All right, I'm still collecting myself from that interview. That was.
It sounds like a good show. We'll have to look into it a little bit more.
You know what else is a good show? NACL. Got plenty of good matches here, especially the match that's happening tomorrow. It's going to be a grand finals, which means we got to start wrapping up here. First of all, Concept, thank you so much for joining us, man. It was a lot of fun. You're incredibly informative. Do you got any shout outs or anything you want to say on the broadcast?
Nope, I've got nothing, but thank you for having me on.
No.
Hey,
Twitch streams? Don't follow you on Twitter? Nothing?
No, it's not about me. It's not about me.
Follow him on Twitter, Concept NALOL. He hasn't tweeted since February, and he's going to change that.
Of course. I will. I will actually change it. I actually plan to, but yeah, that's all for me. Thank you for having me, guys.
All right. Well, for the broadcast desk, my name has been Desrooks. This has been Joshi and Concept. Shoutouts to Emily, the producer, as well as Relly Cry and Monkey Bubble, people who bring this broadcast together to present it here on Twitch. A big thank you to you, the viewer, for tuning in and joining us for this ride. Be sure to tune in tomorrow because we'll have our grand finals, Cloud9 Challengers versus Dignitas Challengers, 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. We'll have a champion crown tomorrow, man. It's going to be great. But for the night, take care of yourself. Have a great night, and we'll see you tomorrow for the thrilling conclusion of the NACL.